Hey guys, it is Mike from Baltimore Rides here, back from the dead. I know I've been kind of off the scene for the past 24, 48 hours, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys a recap and let you know what's been going on, what happened, and what didn't happen. And for those of you that are new out there that are just subscribing, I do this video, as often as I can. I try and do one every night that I work. Some nights I slip up and I don't, I'll be honest. But so here's what happened as kind of a quick recap. Friday night, I left the house around noon and I worked straight through the night, all the way into the morning in DC. And I was driving predominantly Lyft, not so much Uber, although I did Uber a little bit. I got on the road around 10 a.m. or so. I ended up back near Baltimore, and I had already kind of told my wife that I was going to just do an all-nighter, and so I crashed for a couple hours. I found a parking garage up in Towson, crashed for a few hours up there in my car, just, took a 2-hour power nap, got something to eat, and then I hit the road again. And I worked all the way through Saturday up until kind of the wee hours of the morning. And then I crashed again. And then Sunday I stayed home and slept because I was exhausted by that point. So it was an interesting kind of 48-hour marathon. I won't do that again. And I'll tell you for why. Not that I didn't do well. I actually did some pretty great numbers considering. But here's the tricky part, okay? And this is how the idea started. So Friday night, I worked in DC, of course. It was a pretty good night. I'll be honest, it was a pretty good night. Lyft is doing better and better. The more I use Lyft, the more comfortable I get with it, the more I seem to get rides. And I think that that's probably something to do with the software system. The more you give rides for Lyft, kind of like Uber, then the more they want to send you more. So, I was pretty much back to back with Lyft. I mean, there really were not a lot of dead periods. And then, the night bar scene wrapped up around 2 a.m. or so on Friday night. And I said, okay, well, let me start heading home. And I was wide awake. I had a ton of energy. I did not feel sleepy at all. And I said, well, you know what I'll do? I'll see if there's a 4 a.m. flight coming into BWI, and I'll just swing by there. So I swung by the airport. I got a snack at the Royal Farms right near the BWI. Got to the airport queue. I took a little 45-minute snoozy while I was logged in until about 5 a.m. when the first flight started unloading. And I got a ride. And I got a ride all the way to DC. Just about DC. So then I said, okay, well, now it's like 6 o'clock, 6:30 by the time I drop that person off. I might as well go back and get another one. I had my app on. I did like one little ride in DC. I went back to BWI for a second ride. And I got another ride. And this time I did a pickup at the terminal. And again, it was another DC trip. So I'm like, okay, this is something. So after that ride, there was really no activity. There was a little bit of surge or whatever Lyft's surge is called, prime time, going on in the morning, but it fizzled very quickly Saturday morning. So I made my way back up. This time the queue at BWI was ridiculous. And I said, okay, I'm going to go north through Baltimore. Got a couple rides in Baltimore, and then I was done. And then by that point it was 10 a.m. and I'd gotten to Towson and I was basically just tired. So Saturday worked out more like a normal Saturday. By the time I got down to DC from Towson, it was like 1 o'clock. I worked through Saturday. I was really tired. I left probably before the bar scene really went crazy, but I was exhausted at that point. Got back to, home, and I went to sleep. So I had a great Lyft weekend. Monday was my son's birthday, and I didn't want to be out on the road the whole night. So I switched things up. I slept like the dead on Sunday. I actually slept till 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon. That's how late I slept. So I felt to myself, okay, let's try a morning shift. Because I know with this whole Lyft bonus thing, you've got to get enough power hour rides. And you can't do it with just night trips. So I said, well, let's go crazy. Ken and I had been talking a lot last week about Lyft and power hours and things like that. Ken is kind of my Lyft Jiminy Cricket. I talked to him about Lyft stuff because he knows it really well. So I said, what the hell? I got up at 6:30. I got on the road. I was active at 6:30 and started getting some little rides in my neighborhood. I didn't drive to DC because I know you don't have to with Lyft. So I did little rides in and around Westminster, Owings Mills, and I just kept getting rides, ride after ride after ride. And there's no pool or line in Baltimore's area. So it's just single ride, back to back to back to back to back. And I think I got like 10 rides in between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. It was a lot. And then I just kept going. And then power hour ended at 9 o'clock. Lyft just was active, just kept giving me rides all the way through with very few, dead periods or lag. And then I started getting rides in the city, and I got a couple good rides. I mean, the weather was that Monday was the day of this impending storm that everybody was petrified about. I got rides from Baltimore all the way to DC twice. I'm not joking. Just a regular Baltimore person, I need to go all the way to DC. Did that ride, did a couple little rides in DC, went back to Baltimore because I knew there was a storm coming. Got another ride in Baltimore. Oh my God, I need to go all the way to DC. Got a second ride, and at that point it was like 4 o'clock. I said, well, you know what? I'm down here. It's 4 o'clock, rush hour starting. I'll just do some rides down here. So I did rides in DC on Monday till about 6 p.m. And then I was like, okay, I got to turn my app off. I got to get home so I can, celebrate my son's birthday. He's home from school, blah, blah, blah. I needed to get some toys. I stopped at the store and got him a present. And I quit. But you figure 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. is the same kind of 12-hour shift that I normally do. I normally do like a 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. or 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. So I'm still doing a 12-hour shift, doing this 6 to 6 thing. It's just different hours altogether. So, and it was really good. It was a very good day. I don't know the final numbers, but it was something like 200, 225, something like that. And then I had like some extra Uber money in there because I had Uber turned on a little bit every now and then. Call it 250, all said and done between the two of them. That's a great day for a Monday. Then yesterday, Tuesday, which is just wrapping up, this is my Tuesday video, I slept a little bit late. I didn't get up till about 10, so I went straight to DC. I had a good night, $150, 100 with Lyft, 50 with Uber. I am now using Lyft as my primary, and Uber is my secondary. And I had a cleanup fee, unfortunately, not a barf, not a big one, but a guy had his kid in the car. The kid had like a drinky thing, not a toddler, but like still was using like some sort of a beveragey cup with a straw built into it. And I said to the guy, because I saw when the kid was walking to the car that it was dripping. I said to the guy, like, hey, dude, watch that thing because it's dripping and it's got something in it and I don't want it to spill on my seats. Well, he got in the car and it was a pool ride on top of that, and immediately got on his phone and started bitching and moaning to his girl about something. And I'm driving, I pick up another passenger, I pick up a passenger in the front seat, like I'm just paying attention to what I got to do because it's pool. So I got to make sure I get to where I'm going and I drop the right person off, blah, blah, blah. I'm not even paying attention. And his kid fell asleep in the back seat. Yeah. And unbeknownst to me and deadbeat dad who's not paying attention to his kid because he's too busy on the phone yakking, the sippy cup or drink cup, whatever it was, must have fallen on its side and drip, 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 drip. Because they get out of the car and there's a big old stain and wet spot right where that kid was sitting. Well, I'm not, homie don't play that, for anybody that knows In Living Color. So I just said, you know what? Snap, 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 a couple little pictures with my phone, and I sent a cleanup fee to Lyft. You know what? I'm done. I told him the exact story. Dad got in the car, got immediately on his phone. I told him to be careful with the cup. He did not pay attention to his kid or the drink cup. Kid fell asleep. Drink cup must have fallen on its side, spilled on my seat. $50 cleanup fee. So all in all, with the cleanup fee included, it's a $200 night. I'm not really counting the $50 as fee, as work, because it's not really work. But, it's still a decent night for a Tuesday. So it's now 1 o'clock in the morning. I am rushing home. I am definitely doing a day shift tomorrow. I'm going to get a quick 4-hour nap. I'm going to try and get my ass up on time, and I am going to get on the road for 6 a.m. because I only got like 5 or 4 power hour trips today. And I know I've got to either do double power hours or have really good power hours, in this morning or afternoon commute in order to make these bonuses, because I had the trips, I had the acceptance rate, I just did not have these power hour trips. And that's what Lyft wants. Lyft is very picky about this stuff. I still have not gotten any bonus quest or boost with Uber, by the way. None. And on top of that, now Lyft is doing what they call power zones. Sorry guys, my throat is itchy as hell. And let me get a mint. Power zones are basically boost zones for Lyft. They're plus 20% or 30% usually. And basically it's just guaranteed prime time, which is surge in those areas. So I'm surprised that they copied that model. The couple days that I drove in DC before they rolled that out, the prime time is normally like plus 25, plus 50, plus 75, plus 100. So they're 25% increments. So in a way, we're losing money, because if there's prime time in an area, you're at least getting 25%. But if you're in a power zone, you only get 20%. Sometimes you only get 10%. So honestly, it's a way for them to cheap out. But there are much bigger areas than those little funny pink squares that are kind of just dot, dot, dot everywhere with gaps in between them. So, you got to split hairs there. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I don't like it. It's just different. But, the reality is, guys, Lyft has given me incentives. They're hard incentives to hit, but they're incentives. It's at least something I'm trying to get. Uber's not giving me any incentives right now, and I'm done asking. I'm just done. If they don't want me to have them, I won't have them. I can only holler and scream so much. It doesn't do any good. Messages through the system, calling them, I get the same garbage, copy and paste answers, either verbally and they're reading it off some screen, I can tell because it just sounds robotic the way they read it, or, I get it through a message on the support system. And everybody tells me the same thing, like, okay, we're going to reset your profile and blah, 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 and log out and log back in and, blah, blah, blah. It's just nothing ever happens. So, you know what, Uber? You are no longer my primary dog. Lyft is now my primary. I'm sorry. Sorry, Uber. But I asked and asked and asked, and, Mikey's not going to beg forever. And I'm certainly not going to work for free. So if Lyft is giving me incentives, I'm going to work with Lyft. And Lyft does these neat things during rush hour, where if you get 3 or 4 consecutive trips, they give you extra money. And it was like $20 the other day. So you get 4 trips, you get $20. You get another 4 trips, you get $20 more. And I think I got 2 of them on Monday as well. So, now 4 trips divided by 20 is $5 extra a trip. So even that is better than the weird Uber thing where they were giving you like $3 extra per trip. So Lyft is putting some money on the table here, guys. I'm becoming more and more of a fan as I get more and more used to it. The only thing I'm really not 100% on is the criteria for this Prime bonus thing. Because these power hour trips are tricky. I mean, they force you to work both rush hours. So I got to make it work. Hence, I got to go home. Hence, I got to get some sleep and get my butt back up for morning rush hour. The good news is I don't have to race to DC. I can work DC at night and on the weekends, and I can work morning rush hour near my house. So we'll see what happens. But, that's where we stand, guys. I am definitely trying to get back on track, get back to the point where I'm making $1,000+ a week. Honestly, through the holiday season, the week before Christmas when my daughter was doing the Nutcracker, the week of Christmas, New Year's, and then, the first week of January, it's been a little bit problematic, and I've been, under $1,000. I've been in the 800-900 range, and that's frustrating for me because that's not where I want to be. So I'm getting back on track slowly but surely. I'm definitely creeping back into that direction. It's just frustrating as all heck. And I'm putting in the hours, guys. It's not that I'm not, and that's sometimes what you got to do. I was having a discussion on Facebook with a couple other guys that drive Uber and Lyft, and we were talking about, it was one of those days when everybody was having a bad day and I was actually grinding. I think it was Friday. And everybody's saying, oh, it's so slow, it's so slow. I've only made this many dollars. I've only done this many trips. And I said, look, I think it was like I was at $100 at some point already. And I said, look, I'm already at $100. And they said, well, how many hours have you been working? And I said, I've been working this many hours. And then I said, I'm at $200. And the guy's like, okay, well, how many hours did you work? And I said, I worked like, whatever it was, like 11 or 12 hours. And the guy's like, okay, well, that's not bad. It's like $19 an hour. And I said, look, I don't care how many dollars an hour the average is. Yeah, no, there's going to be some nights where your average sucks. There's going to be some nights where your average is great. If my goal is to make $200 a day, then that's my goal. Some days I do it in 8 hours. Some days I do it in 14. It's just the reality. This is not an hourly wage job. And a lot of these guys try and make it into one. That's a good target to have an average, but it's not. It's not. There's unpredictability here, guys. You can be as specific and strategic as you want, and I am definitely. Planning, strategy, thinking about where you're working, being effective, what hours you drive, what neighborhoods you drive in. You can do all these things right and still not control everything, because you're not going to necessarily know where your destination on your next trip is going. It can be a mile down the road and you got a minimum trip for $375, or it can be 30 miles away and you got a $45 fare. You just can't guarantee what that next trip is going to do. You can't. And some nights you get long trips and some nights you get all short trips. It's just the nature of the beast. So for those of you out there that, that want to make this an hourly wage job, if you could guarantee that every trip was going to be $10, or that you were going to get a certain number of trips an hour guaranteed, then yeah, maybe you could convert it into an hourly wage consistently. But you can't. You just can't. And if you play the game, well, great, how many hours did you work that night and how much did you make, and divide it by that many hours, which is the math. Some nights you're going to pat yourself on the back, and some nights you're going to cry yourself to sleep. But I don't quit after a certain number of hours. I quit when I get my goal. I do. Or when I'm frustrated beyond belief. If my goal is 150 to 200 every night, I'm working until I got 150 to 200 every night. Or at least until I damn near have bled myself to the bone trying. Some nights you're just not going to get all the way there. Sorry guys, my head's getting hot. I know I got hat head and I look goofy, but some nights you're just not going to get all the way there. It's okay. But you can't have too many of those bad nights. Otherwise you end up in the pickle that I'm in, where you've had a couple bad financial weeks. If you need to make a certain number, then you got to make that damn number. And if it means staying out an extra hour or two or switching things up, so be it. You know, this day shift thing, Monday could have been a fluke. It could have been a total fluke. But I won't know that until I try it a couple more times. If I see a pattern, then there's a pattern. If I have a great day again tomorrow, working the morning shift, well, then I start to say, okay, maybe there's something here. And then if I do another one and it's still a great day, well, then maybe I'm onto something. But if I only do it once, I don't know if that's a fluke or if that's fact. So you have to try. You have to experiment. You have to repeat and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat. So, you know, that's where we are, guys. I'm learning as I go. Winter is definitely a new animal for me with ride sharing. It's not behaving the way spring did. It's not behaving the way fall did. And it's not really behaving the way summer did. It's a different season with different quirks about it. You know, it feels a little bit like August. August was kind of sluggish, but it's different. Like Monday with the storm and the panic of the weather was huge, busy, huge, crazy. You know, a night like tonight where the weather was kind of mild and 40 and people were like, oh, it's warm, yay. A little bit slower. So there you go. Definitely different. Winter is a very different strategy than summer or spring. So, or fall. And that's where I'm learning. It's my first winter season. I'm figuring this stuff out. I'm also dealing with Uber and loss of my promotions, because that's really the reason why I was driving in DC, was all about Boost and Quest. Because for those of you that have been around for a while, my numbers in Baltimore were more like 150 a night numbers. And then I found out about the Boost and Quest that was available to DC drivers, and I switched my account to DC to get the Boost and Quest that was being offered. And I got it instantly. But somewhere around Christmas time, I drove for like a week and a half in Baltimore because my daughter was doing the Nutcracker every night and getting ready, like rehearsals, then her performance. So I just lost like almost 2 weeks in driving close to home. And I think it screwed up my account somehow. It really did, and nobody at Uber seems to be intelligent enough to figure it out. Sorry. I mean, if you're an Uber employee out there and I'm insulting you, I apologize, but I've literally spoken to so many different people at Uber, 5 or 6 different phone conversations, 5 or 6 different support messages to the support team electronically, and they're all giving me the same bonehead answers that are basically just them reading off a screen the generic stuff. And no one seems to really know how to fix it because it's not reproduced itself. And I've been driving in DC last week and this week. So the system knows I'm in DC again. I don't know. But you know what? Lyft didn't have that problem, because I got on the phone with Lyft and they had it turned on within 24 hours, and I'm now driving for Lyft, guys. Sorry, Uber. I mean, I'm still using Uber. You know, I got about $35, $40 tonight, and no, it's like $45 with Uber tonight, but it's not my primary. It's now the secondary. It's now the one that I turn on when it's quiet. Sorry. I'm a contracted employee, which means I'm not obligated to use one or the other first. So I'm a mercenary. I mean, we are. And by being a mercenary, you have to think like a mercenary. You have to think, where's my money coming from? Whoever's willing to give me the money, that's who I work for. Uber, get back on the bandwagon, start throwing me some incentives, and I'll start being more loyal to you. Plain and simple. But that's that, guys. It is 24 minutes. This is a long one. I'm sorry. But I had to do a recap, and I had to talk about some things that happened over the weekend, and you know, kind of get us back on track. And you know what? That's the way it's got to be. So now that we're kind of like level set, you know what's going on. Tomorrow's video will be a little bit more brief, and you guys will be back on the program. So thank you, everybody that's subscribed recently. Thank you, all my loyal subscribers that have been out there for a while with me, hanging with us. You know, we're all in this together, guys. I totally screwed the pooch on this whole New Year's get-together thing. I'll be honest, I just did. But we'll figure something out in the near future. But, you know, guys, just look me up. Like Ken and I, we talk not every day, but often. And we've gotten together now, you know, once. We definitely want to get together again this week. Alex, I talk to him via text at least every now and then. He's got a lot of good ideas too. Some of you guys I don't talk to as much, but you know, I'm out there. You know my cell phone, it's on a lot of my videos, 443-398-1772. Shoot me a text. I don't always answer the phone. Ken knows that. If I'm on a ride, I don't answer the phone. I don't like talking on the phone while I've got passengers in the car. I don't even talk to my wife when I got passengers in the car. But text me, and I can text while I'm driving using the talk to text thing. You know, or if the minute I don't have a passenger in the car, I can text you back. So shoot me a message. Let me know how you're doing. Say hi. And, you know, I will talk to you guys soon. Everybody have a great night. Bye.